Welcome to In the Room, where we explore the elusive world of casting for film, TV, and commercials. Join us as we interview directors, writers, producers, and actors, taking a deep dive into their experiences with casting and how the ultimate decisions are made in bringing a story to the screen. Get an inside look at casting and find out what really goes on in the room.
Are you reading it?
Yeah, I'm reading it.
Okay.
It's a full page, so we're even.
Pat, he's going to read an essay on you.
My name is John Williams. I am a casting director.
My name is Heather Kafka, and I am an actor.
And today we have Pat Healy, who was born and bred in Chicago, Illinois. Pat's journey in entertainment. Okay, I took this off Wikipedia.
Are you going to use that story time voice?
Yes, I am.
Is this children's hour now?
It's
Pat Healy, for fuck's sake. It's not going to be
bred
gentle.
in suburban Chicago, New Jersey.
So this is off Wikipedia, so a lot of it's probably going to be wrong, so you get to correct me.
Sure. Should I correct you as we go?
God, please do.
Yes.
Make him stop.
Pat Healy's journey in entertainment began at the renowned Steppenwolf Theatre, correct? Okay.
Right.
Relocating to Los Angeles in 1998, he swiftly made his mark, notably appearing as the pharmacist in Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia opposite Julianne Moore's unforgettable meltdown scene.
One of my favorites.
Correct. Since then, Healy has graced over 30 feature films, including standout roles in Ghost World, The Assassination of Jesse James, Captain America, Killers of the Flower Moon, The Winter Soldier. His talent shines in diverse genres, from dramas like Rescue Dawn to comedies like Dirty Girl and Cheap Thrills, which earned his acclaim at South by Southwest. On the small screen, Healy's versatility is equally impressive, with appearances on hits like 6 Feet Under, 24, Grey's Anatomy. Notably, he played the lead in Craig Zobel's Great World of Sound, garnering accolades at Sundance, and delivered a chilling performance as Zobel's Compliance. Beyond acting, Healy has made his mark as a writer and director. His directorial debut, Take Me, premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival, showcasing his talent alongside Taylor Schilling. In 2022, Healy joined the cast of Better Call Saul, stepping into the role of Jeff in the series finale season. Pat Healy's journey is one of versatility, depth, and unwavering commitment to his craft, making him a true standout in the world of entertainment.
Will you read my shit when I go?
I just pulled it off the internet, man. I didn't.
Found dead in his Hollywood home at the age of 52.
Hey, engineers, can we turn Pat up in my headphones? Man,
my volume up enough?
Yeah.
There we go.
Maybe it's just in my headphones so I can hear Pat better.
Okay.
Your directorial debut was at Tribeca.
Yeah, that was in 2017. Yeah. That's hard to believe. That was 7 years ago.
That's amazing.
Shot it in 2016. Yeah, it was fun. I wish it's the kind of thing where it's like, I wish seeing those movies with an audience is so great. And then it just kind of goes to Netflix and then that's it. You know, you don't hear as much about it anymore.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience to be able to do that and know that like the laughs were where you thought they would be and, you know, where you planned them to be and all that stuff. So it was fun.
So let's begin at the beginning, shall we?
Okay.
So Pat Healy is born
on the Steppenwolf Theatre.
On the stage of the Steppenwolf Theatre. No.
Delivered by John Malcolm
Yeah.
and Gary Sinise.
Yeah. Natural birth.
His mom and his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're born. When do you first,
born,
like, where does it all come from? How does it happen? Where does it start to formulate that you are going to create in this way and be this person?
The way that I understand it is that my parents are huge fans of the arts, especially movies, but music, theater, art, fine art, literature, all that stuff. So that was all very big and important in our home. And movies were just something that I, loved from before I could remember. And that's what I wanted to do, really. I think I wanted to be involved in making movies. And it's hard for people to understand now in the 70s and early 80s even that wasn't so you can kind of make movies now, with your phone.
Yeah.
But at the time, if you didn't really know someone, and I don't even think the idea of film school was like a hugely popular thing to do. But I think what I knew how to do, what I understood was acting, and that's what I did. I mean, I started being in plays probably in kindergarten, but like around must have been third or fourth grade was when I really fourth grade probably when I did like a play for the park district that was like about all the monsters having a party, and I played the Wolfman in it. And I just remember that I knew everybody else's lines, and I had a lot
Yes.
of energy. I was really excited to come out on stage, and I think probably around that time, my parents knew that it was something that I could do and that I was interested in doing. I was put into a special class in fourth and fifth grade in elementary school, where the teacher her name was Ridgely Jackson. This was in suburban Chicago, and she put the kids in her class that they thought were performing arts kids, and then she did a play every year, and which she wrote, I believe, and she certainly directed it. And then I sort of like had it confirmed for me, that okay, I could do this and I'm good at it. And then we moved. My father got a job in New Jersey, and we moved in the middle of fifth grade, and that was difficult. I mean, I had no friends. I wasn't popular. I wasn't good at sports, and they wouldn't cast me in any plays. So I just sort of like got a little lost for a few years. And then we moved back to Chicago when I was a freshman, right before I started high school. And the second semester of my freshman year in high school, I got cast in a big part in a play, which was unusual for a freshman, but I did. And it was playing an old man in this play, Mornings at 7 by it's Paul Osborne play. And like I look at the picture in the yearbook now, and I'm like, I've got like the lines drawn on my head and stuff, but like
Yeah.
really, yeah, and the, like straight on silver
Yes.
hair. But really, when I look at that picture now, I think my career kind of took this long to catch up with that. It took my body to catch up with like that's kind of what my soul was, even at
An old
14.
man.
Yeah. I mean, and I think, I'm finding, catching my stride now, as an older person. I've always worked, but I feel like I've kind of grown into that. My body is caught up with that soul, that old soul, and things in my personal life are really happening now too. So, there's probably something in that, but yeah, I mean, from there, I knew I wanted to go to theater school. I wanted to go to a school called DePaul University in Chicago, which is a really good theater school that was connected with the Goodman Theater in Chicago. John C. Riley went to uh, DePaul, some other people. But since we lived, 45 minutes away, my parents wanted me to live at home, save money. And I really didn't want that. I really wanted the college experience. So my mother asked some friends about, who had some experience with performing arts, and found out that Illinois State University was a good theater school. DePaul was going to make me, I don't think I had the grades to get in there. I would have had to audition, and I had to write an essay or something, and all things I didn't want to do when I was in high school. And but Illinois State, I think the application was like one page. And I think it's much harder to get in now. And I know I went back there, I think it was 5 years ago now, to speak and teach a class and stuff. And you do have to audition to get in there now. I mean, everything's so much more competitive. But at the time I got in, and I didn't really know what I was stumbling into, because not only was it an amazing theater program, but the Steppenwolf Theatre started at Illinois State University. So Joan Allen was there, Malkovich was there, Laurie Metcalf, Jeff Perry, Gary Cole, all these people, and they started sort of the company there. And so they offered an internship for graduating seniors every year, and I got that. And that really was a great stroke of luck, because I was, working there. I had to work on stage crew and construction, and loaded a porta potty up and down a couple flights of stairs in a rehearsal space across the street, up and down. But like, I was allowed to audition for all the shows. So I got cast as an understudy twice in my internship year. And I went on as an understudy in a show. And then as soon as my internship ended, I got cast in a play there. And I ended up doing 4 or 5 plays there. And there's a poster for the first play that I did there that's over here now for Clockwork Orange.
Let's see it.
Which was the first play that I got cast.
Show it.
Show you. So can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's amazing.
Oh,
So
wow.
there's some familiar people in that, like met a lot of people on Paul Edelstein, Nick Offerman, Chris Bauer. A lot of people. Terry Kinney directed this production. So like,
So cool.
we all met doing that, and that was 1994. Michael Shannon was there. He's a few years younger than I, but he was there doing a show with Tracy Letts, Killer Joe, that Tracy had written. Tracy was acting in a play at Steppenwolf, so it's an exciting time.
Yeah.
But I think just because I was there, it allowed me to, like, they're like, "Oh, you're there. You're working at Steppenwolf." One of the agencies in town wanted to represent me. I got cast doing commercials in Chicago, little parts in movies and TV. And then when I moved to LA in '98, they had an office out here, that agency. So I kind of glided right in. And in fact, a friend of mine always says I was cursed with early success. He says, "I'm like you. I wasn't cursed with early success. I was really successful early on. And it seemed like, oh, this is going to be an easy ride." And, a couple of years into living here, it got more difficult, more challenging. And I had to really apply myself a lot more. It was going to be a lot more work than I planned on it being.
Can
And
we dig into that a little bit? What the difference was
Sure.
for you in that, as far as it coming to you easy? When you say that, what does that mean? What does that exactly mean?
I mean, it seemed like almost everything I auditioned for in Chicago, I got
Mm-hmm.
in terms of film and television. There were smaller things, but Hollywood productions would come to town. So I did Home Alone 3, which is, one of my first movies. And I worked on it for like 5 weeks and, stood around as an FBI agent. And I just was saying to my fiance, like, we've got a check for, I don't know, $700 from that. And that came out in 1997. Like, it's just one of those things that you just keep making money off of. And there was a movie called Payback with Mel Gibson that I did a day on with him. My best friend's wedding, I was cast in. I was on the set for a couple days, but they never ended up using me. But that's how I got my SAG card. And then, like, I came to LA, and the first day I got here, I auditioned for a pilot, and I was testing for it, and I ended up getting it. But like, I just never had to. Like, I worked in a restaurant, like I worked as a waiter in Chicago, but I never had to get a job here. I had saved about, I don't know, it's 1998.
So do you think there was
$10,000.
just a confidence about you in the room when you were
Yeah.
Yeah, just that you're just like,
Yes.
or an expectation, like, I'm gonna get it, I get everything, and so that lend
It
itself.
never. Yeah, I don't think it occurred to me ever until, maybe 1999 at some point that I was going to be anything other than successful. And I had that confidence.
Mhm.
And then you sort of get here and you're not the biggest
Fish in the pond.
Yeah. And your numbers are not as good. You're not hitting as many.
Yeah.
You're also
milestones,
walking
or
into-
you're not.
You're walking
Wasn't
into
hitting the
rooms and you're
part-
like,
I was like,
there's
Yeah.
that famous guy, there's that famous guy.
Yeah. And if
For
they're
sure,
here, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm screwed.
And let's not even talk about now, because now it's like, I
Yeah.
don't even know what's going on, but we'll get to that, I suppose. But
Yeah.
you're just like, oh, I think what I expected was to suddenly get a big role in a movie or
Yeah.
Lead on a TV show.
Yeah.
on a TV show, and I auditioned for, a dozen pilots, and probably tested for a dozen pilots over those early years, and never got cast in any of them. I did my first pilot when I was uh, 2016. So I was like 45 years old.
Something that was going to
I
break and like take the momentum to the next
Yeah.
phase, like the next level,
think-
like you do when you're when you're in any
Yeah,
other
you feel
career.
like it's just going to keep going up
You
and
go,
up.
you grow, you grow in your career. You get better and better, and you know, like any
Right.
career, you
Like any normal life.
you
Yeah.
become the next
whatever
thing.
that is anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think there was some struggle. So when I moved out here, I was 26, and it took me kind of like when I was in my early 30s, let's say when I was about 32, 33, I started to feel that confidence again. I was doing, I had a lot of friends who did comedy. So I started doing sketch and stand up. And I think just being on stage again, because like I still haven't done a play since I left Chicago in 1998, which is shameful, but I just hadn't. And
I mean, it's hard in LA.
getting back on
There's not
stage
a
again.
ton of great opportunities in theater out there.
No, like to take the time to do it here too, you know. But when I was 32, 33, I got cast. Like I met David Gordon Green in 2000, and we were friends. And then David introduced me to Craig Zobel, and Craig ended up casting me in Great World of Sound, which was a big deal. And then like I went to Charlotte for a month here and a month there. I think we rehearsed and shot for like a month, and then took a few weeks off, and then came back. And then like from there, I got cast in this Werner Herzog movie to rescue Donald Christian Bale, and I went to Thailand. And then when I came back from that, I did this Jesse James movie with Brad Pitt and Casey Affleck. And so then I felt like, okay, I'm on a roll here. And I came back to LA early 2004.
There's something too, I think, of being a qualifier. Like, okay, he's worked with these guys. He's comfortable,
Yeah.
and so casting and producers start to trust that you can hold your own, and that okay, he's able to play in this arena.
Yeah, I think that still happens, by the
Yeah.
way. I mean, I think it you know, at least gets you in the door of being able to read or meet with the people or whatever. But, you know, it just didn't turn into a pilot or anything, you know. And so I started writing, and that was really great because I was making good money writing. Nothing ever got made except for a few episodes of television I wrote. But I
Well,
was
and
able
let's
to
go
not
back to that.
audition
I
for
made
everything.
good money writing, but nothing ever got made.
Jesus.
Which is
That's
is what
amazing. I
happens.
mean-
they buy it, they shelve it, or they don't. It goes into development.
Yeah, I wrote scripts and they auctioned them, or I got hired to rewrite things or write things. But you know, I got on this blacklist a couple times here, which is a big, you know, list of unpublished or unmade screenplays, and that gets you lots of meetings and opens up a lot of doors. But the main thing about that was it allowed me to stop auditioning because I was really getting the life sucked out of me from this. I was really not enjoying the process and not.
Talk a little bit about that. About what
Yes, please.
what it is that you weren't enjoying.
Elaborate.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure to perform and to. I don't know. You could speak more to the idea of like whether or not somebody's right for it or not. They just are, right? But it was a lot of going in rooms, thinking I did a good job, and not booking the jobs. Or there's this a lot, you know, less now, but more then. Things I didn't want to do, I wasn't right for, but I had to audition
Still
for them because
going.
I knew
Yes.
they were.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if
And then
the job is-
also feeling like, well, you pretty much you feel good about what you did, even though you weren't right for it, you didn't want to do it. You still pretty much did a great job or the best you could do.
Right.
And then still hearing absolutely fucking nothing and not booking it. So you're just like,
Well-
what insanity is this that I'm doing with my time and my life? Who am
Back
I?
then,
What have
at
I
least
become?
back then at least they called you. They would
Yeah,
call you
now
and
it's
tell you
just
that
a
you did it.
virtual, it's just a black hole of nothingness.
Yeah.
And now it's just some crazy shit that I do alone in my studio, in my like,
Which you never hear anything
office.
about. I had my first in-room producer session a couple weeks ago since 2019. And it was great. And I didn't get it, but I felt great about it. And I felt that connection and everything. But I think what was happening back then and why I wanted to stop is that if you're not right for it and you don't want to do it, you're really only doing it for work, for money.
Yeah.
So it's not exciting to you and you don't get it. So it's just like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know why I'm doing it.
Well, Pat, sometimes
it's
you just need the health insurance for your kid.
I know.
There's plenty of people who don't want to go sit behind that desk and staple papers, and you just fucking got to do it, man. The baby needs shoes.
And I did, I did that for so long, and I didn't have kids, and, so I was able to do that, but I didn't want to do it if it was going to, at that time, I was still in my 30s, and I thought, I just can't do this if I'm going to be, I love doing it. I love the work so much that it was spoiling it for me.
It's soul destroying. Oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
It really hurts.
Yeah. There was that phrase used by Ray Winstone the other day in an interview about doing Marvel work. He said it was soul destroying. But, so I stopped and I was writing for a while. And what happened was, because I did Great World of Sound, Ty West, I had met Ty through that, and through having seen that at festivals and met him at a festival. And he asked me to do his movie, The Innkeepers. And I really enjoyed doing The Innkeepers, and I felt really relaxed. And I saw when the movie came out that my work was different. I was relaxed. I wasn't like as tense. I was just enjoying doing the work because I didn't need to do it for the money at the time. I was just doing it for the joy of doing it, and it was a bigger part and everything. Craig ended up doing compliance and asked me to do that, and Evan Katz then asked me to do Cheap Thrills. And so those were all things that I did that had a bigger role, not because I needed the money, but because I really wanted to do them. And they've all been extremely beneficial to my career.
Paid off tenfold.
Yeah, I mean, Innkeepers is like, Martin Scorsese loves it. And so it's like,
That's how he came across you?
Yeah, I mean, he asked Ellen Lewis to meet with me for Vinyl, his pilot that he was doing for HBO. And when I got there and I met her and she told me that, oh, Marty loves The Innkeepers. He wants me to tell you. He watches it all the time. I was like, what the fuck is happening? And I cried. And then I told Ty, and Ty since like spent time at Marty's house, and he did the Q&A with Marty for Killers of the Flower Moon. Like, it's kind of amazing. He did a movie for like, I don't know, $850,000 or something, and these people that are at the top of the list that you always wanted to work with.
I mean, that's what we're finding though in these interviews, is that it is those movies that everyone does because they love it that end up being the most joyful and rewarding of the projects, and most inspiring to other filmmakers.
Yeah, if you happen to get lucky, like I said early on, getting a great role on a prestige television show or a great supporting role, that's a break. Somebody like Edward Norton got that. That was around my time in the movie Primal Fear. It's going to launch you in a different way. But if not, you're doing these little movies, and not as many people are seeing them. But over time, the right people are seeing them, and they pay off for you because you actually are enjoying and doing for the love of them. It is a longer process for me because it's really only started to pay off for me in the last, 5 years or so in terms of financially being stable and all that stuff. But, I just kind of followed my gut on that, and it thankfully worked out. I couldn't have known it was going to work out the way it worked out. And, it allowed me to, I got on a network show that I was recurring on for several years, and then they made me a regular for a season. And, you don't usually make that kind of money doing what we do. So that was, it was nice. It was rewarding that it's come after this long period of time, which is now, last year was 30 years when I started. So now it would be 31 years in August that I started in show business, into professional show business.
But we keep hearing too, sometimes it takes 20, 30 years just to get good. And like you said, you're settling in, it seems more so now into who you are.
For sure. And I think relaxation and a comfortability with who you are is key to it, especially on camera stuff, because the camera picks up on all that,
I think
Sometimes if you're,
I was talking to Steve
sometimes if you're nervous, oh, you talk.
No, go ahead. I
was
gonna say this. Also, not giving a fuck. Like not caring, not caring and caring about the work, but not caring about like, is this going to pay for this? Get my job, and I got to get this, or this is going to happen.
Yeah, it's. I think that's why I got those parts. It did so well on them in those movies that I was just talking about, like Cheap Thrills and things. Is like I didn't have to think about anything but the work, and I cared about the work. But I didn't have to impress anybody to get those jobs or anything. I didn't have to try too hard. My fiance is a writer and producer, and she's on the other side of things, and she'll do the self tapes with me, and she'll tell me like, "You're trying too hard. They're gonna like, don't put a costume on. Like they'll smell that you're desperate, for like to get this part, or like don't, you have to like kind of have a don't give a fuck attitude about it, even though you do, give a fuck. Again, I care about the work. I always put a lot of work into that, but I mean, I'm guilty of having sometimes put on a costume or a fake mustache or something.
You come out in full Dracula attire, and she's like,
yeah.
Pat, no.
We have a friend who like for a little part on a show, like rented a whole sea captain's uniform.
Yes.
Costume shop, but he didn't get the part, so it's just like, I don't know. She's like, I wouldn't do that, But
but you got to direct and cast. So did that change? What came of that for you as far as an actor?
I didn't do it in the room. It's like I cast people that I knew or people that whose work I knew. I could very well be someone who didn't like auditioning to make other people audition. So I couldn't. I just cast people I knew whose work I was familiar with.
I have no money, but good news, you don't have to audition.
So do you not like auditioning, Pat? You don't like it?
Does
I don't mind it now?
Yes.
You like auditioning?
No, some people really do like it. Some people do.
Yeah, I don't particularly like the process. If it's something that I'm connecting with and I feel good and I can really convince myself that it is just another opportunity to act, it's fine. We have fun doing the tapes now because we have each other and we enjoy it, and it's fun. It's something. It's a thing that we can do together, and she enjoys doing it with me. But like, man, when you have to like track somebody down and
right,
maybe do it over Zoom with them. I had a couple times. What's nice is I told you I got back in the room a few weeks ago, and then a couple of the tapes since then have been, we're having a session. You're welcome to do it. It's over Zoom, but like if you want to do a session, they're asking people to do it again. It hasn't been convenient for me, so I haven't done it, but it's nice that that's happening again, because it's like you were talking about this, Heather. It's been years of like throwing it out into the stratosphere and not knowing like what is what's hitting. Is it bouncing off some satellite somewhere and just landing in a dumpster somewhere in China or whatever? I don't really know.
It's just nothingness.
Little QuickTime file, bing, bing, bing.
Yeah. I mean, I know people. It's like they'll tell me like, I'll watch the beginning of it, and if the person's not right, I don't watch any more of it. That's fair.
Yeah.
But I you mean maybe John, it's like, are they like, they're seeing seemingly hundreds of people for roles that they used to see.
So yeah, that's the problem now, right?
2,000 people for.
We used to have control because we had to schedule you guys in to come into the room, and so we could only see a certain amount of people. Now we have no control over who's going to upload, who's not going to upload, who's going to tape, not going to tape, right? And we can beg people and they confirm, but we never get a tape, and so you just end up throwing more at the wall. And so what used to be you guys against 12 or 15 is now 1 against 100, which is just ludicrous.
So you're asking more people because in part because people who say they're going to do it don't
do it.
Or,
yep.
Or don't
I might put out 25 requests. I could get 5 back. I could get 25 back. There's just no, we used to have to get those confirmations, right? So we knew, and if he didn't show up, we were like, where's Pat? He's not here. He confirmed. And so now it's like they confirmed, and it just goes into the same void where we don't hear anything and nothing ever happens.
Nobody talks about that when they discuss this whole self-tape.
That's because we don't show up face to face. It's easier to just, it's like social media. It's like you don't have to own it. You don't have to be responsible for what you say. You don't have to show up.
Yeah.
And there's no real ramifications. Hey, you confirmed. And I'm sorry. I had to go get my kid at this. Yeah. This happened.
Everybody's just hiding behind a computer, and they don't.
I'm old school, man. I'm not on social media anymore. I don't. That's a recent change since last year. I don't confirm. Unless I'm going to do it, I'll call them and tell them if I've changed my mind.
Yeah.
Who knows if they're calling you to let you know that I've changed my mind? But
because it did used to at least be a thing where, like, my agent would email me, and then I would tape, and then he would come back and say, it's not going any further or whatever. There was this like ping pong ping.
Yeah.
And now it seems like there's like hey, I sent you something in Actors Access. And then I log in, and then the rest is fucking up to me. It's like I have to do absolutely everything at that point, and then nobody ever talks to me again. No, I don't ever hear from the casting director, and I don't ever hear from my agent ever again. It just goes nowhere. And so it's like there's never a return. It just goes ping, and then I might as well be playing tennis by myself.
Yeah, I'm setting up lights. I'm setting up the camera. I'm editing it. I'm uploading it. I'm doing all stuff.
All of it.
And I don't want to do any of that stuff. I just want to think about acting.
And you're putting on full Dracula costume.
All of it. And unless
full Dracula.
Yeah. And it's like, unless I get the job, or there is going to be, I guess, a callback, I don't hear anything. There's like no feedback of any kind. So even
call and ask, but even then you don't know if you're going to get it.
Well, it's like this last thing I did. I actually literally is the one time I like begged for feedback, because I was like, listen, I don't do this every time, but I actually think that last tape I sent in was kind of dope. Like, legit. Like, I think my shit was funny. Like, funny.
Yeah.
Like, really, like, I'm having like an existential crisis right now, because I think my work was kind of next level. I'm not even kidding. So, like, I'm not even getting a call back. Like, not even like, you don't even want to explore that a little bit. Like, I created that character that was a little bit different than what you asked for on the page, and kind of a little bit awesome. Like, you didn't see that coming, did you? No, you didn't. And it didn't stray too far, and it also didn't suck. Like, can we not explore, like, just nothing? We're not going to even.
Is your feeling when that happens that they just didn't watch it? Because that's how I feel.
It's hard to believe that she wouldn't have watched it. Because I'm still like in this small pond over here, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, for sure they watched it. So I felt comfortable to be like, hey, you sure? You really? No? Nothing?
Did you get a response?
Nothing. And I was like,
and
it's hard to know.
Yes.
Like
and I was like, what happened?
If you did that in the room, say, and you felt good about what you did, but it wasn't connecting with them, you would know it wasn't connecting.
I would know.
So you would know.
I would know.
You don't know now.
But because I don't know.
If just for some reason, it's completely like not what they're looking for.
But because I'm not in the room and I didn't get that feedback, like that pheromone we pass or whatever, it just eats away at me. And I'm like sending it to my like comedy pros that I know, and I'm like, this is fucking funny, right? Like, I'm not insane,
right?
Like I've been here a minute. I still got it, right? Like, there's something here, right?
I still got it.
Like, I'm not crazy, right?
I'll tell you the thing that drives me absolutely insane is, and it's been good lately, I've gotten these auditions that are 2 pages, which is all you need.
Dear God, please.
12 pages.
Yeah, same.
8 pages.
I'm like, stop.
And you're like, it's the same beats in all the scenes. So I don't know why they talk to me about that, John.
Well,
like,
it's also like you don't want to see us talk this long without giving some direction, because we're just shooting in the dark still. So just stop.
Like,
if it's this, I mean, I don't like.
They get them from the producers, and they're like, oh, they try to talk them down from giving so much material, but like,
And you don't want to
it's like,
download 2 gig of my shit without being able to exactly tell me what to do. So let's just stop, guys.
drag.
Like,
Yeah, if you were doing it in person, they'd stop you after the first scene and say thank you very much if
Yeah.
you weren't right. You know?
yeah.
I mean,
That I
I
don't-
like to give two. I like to give just one that's just sort of light lifting, and then the heavy lifting moment if it's for somebody. But
Yeah.
if it's the same, like you said, beats in every scene, there's no reason to get 12. I don't
Yeah.
want to watch 12 scenes when I know
No.
within 5 words, okay, this isn't gonna
Yeah.
necessarily go anywhere. And so
And if there's
I-
12 pages, I know you're not watching all of them.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then I also feel that you just have people who don't trust themselves and then they are overworking, then they don't have to. Directors that
That's
maybe
right.
don't trust themselves, and then they're like they want to see more. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's important if we get you down to the last top 5, top 3, like we need to see everything. And the hard part, the hard part for us now is what's happening is that we do everything over Zoom, and then you guys show up, and we didn't see off camera that your hands were like this, and you show up, and you're completely nervous, and it's just a completely different person.
Or someone can do 80 takes at home
Yep.
and send you the one. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So you got 2 pages, and what happened?
I've done 2 recently that are just 2 pages. It was great.
Oh,
It allowed me to
yeah,
really work on it. It's like,
for sure.
if they want to see more, I'll do it. But it's like, I think I've had 3 where it's been 2 or 3 pages, and that's great. I could really get into it. But
It's almost
don't
like
think-
because they're not going to have you in the room, they feel like they have to send more just in
No.
case
I
to
hope
make
that
sure.
maybe
that
I
you're
hope
not
it's
gonna
that,
suck.
I mean, that people can see what I can do. You know what I
I know,
mean?
right?
At this point,
Or
there's
it's
a
like,
lot of.
can they just Google you or like,
Yeah, I would think that
Fucking-
you're getting calls that are just, hey, we want to check his availability.
I think it's more. There is that. There are offers, but I'm doing tapes, and I think it's more focused. At least that's what my team tells me, that there are things that they're not seeing as many people for, things that aren't necessarily going out on breakdown services, and they just want to see if I'm right for it. That's fine. I have no problem with that. But if it was like, oh well, here's the scene, and it's like, oh, can this guy really do it? Well, it's like you said, he's worked with Spielberg and Scorsese and Paul Thomas Anderson and Brad Pitt and Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks, and I think he's all right. Like,
yeah,
you don't know if I find out. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna show up.
but he's never
Yeah.
worked off an animation before.
yeah, yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think if I'm calling you in for something that you have that's not necessarily that's your known wheelhouse, like I definitely
Right.
want to see your take at it. But if it's something that's like, look, he knocks it out of the park all the time doing this guy, let's just check his availability, and
sometimes I
he's
know
interested.
Yeah. Sometimes I know casting, and I know it's like, oh, well, maybe the producers or the director is not familiar with my work, and they think I'd be right for it. And sometimes,
But
they're
I
not
will
happy.
send
Sometimes
send
they are,
clips. I will be like, are you familiar with Pat's work? And they say, no, I'm not. And then I'll send them clips and be like, just saying like,
Yeah.
this guy's amazing. I've worked with him.
I think that my team has like a reel that they put together, and every time something comes up, like the Killers of the Flower Moon and Better Call Saul and George and Tammy scenes are on there now, because those are the last 3 big things I did. And,
George and Tammy was
but,
awesome, by the way. So good.
oh, thanks.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
good.
I love doing.
I mean,
that.
Killers of the Flower Moon was pretty good too. But
That was pretty good.
I know that world and story 'cause just being from Texas, so it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was. I know that. I mean, I'm fans of both of them, but and I know that story fairly well. But that was fun to do. I didn't really know that guy's story, and that was interesting to get into.
And so, what do you feel? What do you feel now as far as like auditioning goes? Since you are still reading, like what are some of the things you feel like you've learned that you now do that maybe is better than what you did before?
Relaxing. Trying to trust the fact that I'm right for it or not. So not trying to create a whole persona based on what I think the character is.
Mm.
I think it's more about, it's not acting so much. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
if it is not a, I can see when I've done a tape and there's a layer of performance in between take and cut, you know, like of action and cut that I don't necessarily like to see in myself. So I imagine somebody else would want to see it either. So it's like, knowing that I'm right for it or not pushing.
And when you
so
say
much.
knowing that you're right for it, how do you think that you know that you're right for it?
I just get a feel for it. I read it and I somebody who's making it may not agree, but I feel it might be something like the words you know, come easily to me, you know, I both am memorizing them and they fall off my tongue in a way that seems, you know, natural or good, or real, whatever. I think that there's certain descriptors for me. I mean, I have a pretty broad range of what I can do, but we had one the other day, it was Weasley, and I'm like, okay, I'll probably go for this one. You know, like um, I think
Yeah.
I think if I could draw, I think if I could draw upon, I just mean that I've done those kind of parts a
Yeah.
lot. You know, if I can draw upon something, I mean, I'm in a good place in my life. Things are scary in the business right now. I mean, I'm sure you feel the same way, but I'm in a good place in my life. But I do have a, a, a deep well of rage within me that could be tapped
Yeah.
pretty easily, that I've used in my work a lot, you know, that I can turn on and off fairly easily. Uh, so if it were something that required that, um, you know, I can sometimes feel, you know, that I can do that. I was thinking today, because I was thinking about casting stories, and you might ask me about them. Years ago, it's got to be like 20 years ago now. I went in for, I think they were making a direct-to-video sequel to Starship Troopers, and it was an in-person audition with, I think, just casting. I think it was two casting people, maybe a casting and a producer. It was, and the scene was like a war scene, so it was like, "Come on, Johnny, we gotta get him in here, get these folks or whatever," you know. I walk in the room, and it's a room about this size. It's small, and I'm like, I don't, okay, and I just did it, and these people were like, they were like trying to get out of the room almost. Like it was like really like I didn't know what else to do though. It was like that was the scene. And they were like, I remember afterwards they were just really like freaked out and they were like, okay, thank you. Like they were like in shock.
But like,
And I was just like, I don't know what to do. That was the scene. I don't know.
What
I
the?
don't know.
I
I've
hate
had-
shit
I've-
like that.
I've had-
I'm like, what did you expect? I've had
Yeah, and then
auditions
I
like
feel
that
like a complete
too.
asshole.
Like one where I'm
Yeah.
like a sleepwalker. I think it was a CSI. I'm a sleepwalker and I'm supposed to like have this episode where I'm walking and I find this woman's body and I drop to my knees and I start pounding her chest and I'm like freaking out and doing all this stuff. And so I'm freaking out and doing all that stuff, you know? And it's like everyone in the room is like, oh, you know, and everyone outside when I walk out, all the other actors in the chairs are like, oh my,
What did
like
they
they're like
expect?
scared of me. And I'm like, what the fuck are you guys gonna do? Like, what did you expect?
I did have one guy
Sometimes
do.
people on the other side tell me that you shouldn't do that stuff.
No, you
Listen.
should. You
Even
should.
like for Chainsaw, when I went in for Chainsaw, well, okay, I was dressed in the bathrobe and shaved my eyebrows off or whatever, but they told me afterwards.
Did you pour blood all over yourself?
No, but I looked scary. But I was supposed to look like a freak or whatever. And then she told me, she was like, the receptionist, we were all so scared of you. And I was like, well, good, right? Right?
Right.
It's the Chainsaw
yeah.
Massacre.
There is a line, right?
But also, they need to know that they can work with you,
Yeah.
right? That
Yeah,
you
I
got
mean, I'm not
something
gonna
you're
like.
reasonable.
I mean,
I had a guy do a war type thing that you're describing.
gonna bring a gun.
and he went through my wall.
well, not that.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Destroy property. And come on.
But I think maybe that's where you kind of, because it happened. Right?
Yes,
So you're like,
okay.
okay, is this going to be another guy going through my wall?
No, but yeah, sure.
Well,
but like, have the
I
emotion.
think there's two things. Like getting like good at it. I think this is another thing because you just asked me about like where do I think I am now, is knowing two things. I can do this. I'm good at for the job, and what kind of guy is he? Like, is he a reasonable guy that I can talk to? Can he take direction well? Is he cool to hang out with? Like, can he hang? You know, all that kind of stuff that you have to deal with, especially if you're going to be working with somebody for a while. And that stuff's harder discern, as you say now, through
On
tape.
tapes.
Like
Yeah.
most of the time I get cast from a tape, it's because I know the director, the producer, the cast. Like I know a bunch of people and they know my character, they know who I am and that I'm good to work with.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's
like,
it's a huge part of it is is knowing like if we have Pat, I don't have to worry about him. He's going to
Maybe
show up, do
it's
his job.
different
Yeah.
for you, like with commercials or whatnot. But I know, like for Gemstones, I sent like my slate. I kind of just did like a little bit of a like wacky slate where I was just a little bit more of like, this is me. Like, is there any room for that in a commercial slate?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we do
I mean,
everything.
'cause otherwise
it depends
it's
on the
like-
people. Like if I'm doing, done tons of movies with David, tons of commercial with David, it's like he's up for anything, So it's like it just depends on the people that are on the other side, which you don't know. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of times I'm working for.
I haven't done. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm listening. I was going to say I haven't done commercials in a long time, but I would. It was the right thing, It's like it's just that like here, it's like you're going to go and there's hundreds of fucking people there in the place to audition for one commercial,
Yeah,
It's a lot.
yeah.
A lot to put yourself through.
Yeah, and then the ones that pay that are union are getting less and less. So yeah, it's definitely a hard. It used to be. I mean, it used to be such a lucrative field, and now it gets harder and harder for sure. So
Yeah.
you mentioned you have some audition stories. So we got a little bit of time. I'd love to hear some of the best ones. Did you have to read for Martin?
Yeah. So what happened with that was I went in for years ago for vinyl. I met Ellen Lewis, and she was great, and I didn't get cast in that, but she just kept looking for stuff for me, and that's so when I did the post, I got a call one day that I was meeting with Spielberg, and I went over to his office and talked to him for like 45 minutes, and then he had like discussed when they were shooting the movie and all this stuff, and I was like,
And then they ask, would you be available? Would be something you're interested in? You're like, yeah.
yeah. He goes. I said, okay, so the meeting's ending, and we talked about movies, and we talked about his movies and all that stuff, and the meeting was ending, and I said, okay, so he told me they were shooting in New York, and I said, so if I do this movie, it'll be. He goes, oh, you're in the movie. I just wanted to meet you, and again, I started crying, and he hugged me, and then he left, and I think her name is Leslie Grossman. She's the head of casting for DreamWorks. She said, I've seen this happen so many times. So I did that movie.
It's a funny move though that they do. They bring you in and you're meeting with him and you don't know, and then they say, "Oh no, I already cast you." I've heard that so many times.
Yeah. And then
you're like, well, that would have changed this meeting a little bit. At least I would have been like,
yeah. Well, I tell you, like, I was really nervous. I mean, I was really excited. I mean, I would tell the cashier at right.
Oh, wait, he stalled out on us. Hang on one second.
There you are.
Yep, there you are.
And I sat with Les.
You froze for a second, so we lost you for a second.
But we got you. So you would tell the cashier?
Yeah, I would tell cashier at CBS or whatever that I was going to meet Steven Spielberg, and then I was really excited. And then I drove as soon as I got on the lot at Universal. I got really nervous. I was like, my heart was thumping. And I got there, and Leslie Grossman, I believe that's her name. She took me in her office for a while. She's like, I just like to meet people, and it was through Ellen was casting the movie, but she was sort of supervising casting. And I realized later she was just relaxing me, and talking to me, because when I went up in the office to talk to him, I was just waiting, and he came in. I was like, and then within about 2 minutes, I was just totally relaxed and talking to him about movies and his movies and having a great conversation. And then let's see. So that was 2017. In Thanksgiving 2019, I was aware of Killers of the Flower Moon that it was happening. It was the version of the movie where Leo was going to be the FBI agent that Jesse Plemons plays. So this was Thanksgiving of 2019. One of her associates was out in LA because she's from here, and she was seeing a couple of people. I think it was just me and Johnny Knoxville amazingly enough.
It seems like a
And it was a
marriage right there.
Yeah.
I could see how you guys would be
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
against each
First
other.
two people I think of.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a 2-page scene. It was a simple scene. It was like, it's basically the scene that's in the movie where I'm kind of breaking everything down there with the case. And I did it. That was Thanksgiving 2019. Early 2020, I heard that they were switching it up, that they were going to change, and Leo was going to change parts and they were going to rewrite the movie. So the script ended up being very different from the one that I had read at that time.
How many cycles how many cycles have you going, maybe I got it, maybe I didn't get it, maybe I got it, maybe I didn't get it before?
Well, I auditioned. I had a pretty good sense that we're going to cast me in the movie. There were so many parts. It's interesting because it would have been a much bigger part in that other version of the script, but it wouldn't have been as good a movie.
Yeah.
You know? But that script just wasn't as good. It wasn't as compelling. But so then, yeah, so that was Thanksgiving 2019. Then I heard like around award season 2020 that they were switching it up, and then COVID hit, and then it was just like, what was that? March 2020. And at Christmas, I got the call that I was cast.
How was
you
that
know.
shoot?
It was great. It was different because A, it was COVID, and B, just the way that he likes to do things. Everybody was there the whole time for the most part. So I was there from April to mid-April to mid-September, and I didn't shoot a thing till mid-July. That was the day that I met Marty. It was like the day on set. That was the first time I met him. And again, it was a little, I was a little intimidated for about 2 minutes, and then it was just really fun. He's great at relaxing people. He loves actors, and
What do you mean you're
he's
there
just fun.
that whole time? Like,
So they gave me an
Spring Hill
apartment,
Suites.
and they gave me a really nice apartment and a car. And I got rid of my place in LA because I wanted to get out anyway.
and were you able to go down and be on set and watch and all that, or?
So the reason, not really, no, because of COVID, it was just bad. So there were some people that had families that left, more than I did. We were there for a rain cover scene. If it rained, they were going to shoot this scene earlier because it was on the schedule for later. But because of Oklahoma, when it rains there, it's lightning and you can't shoot anything because you have to turn all the generators off. So we were just there.
You were just kind of on hold on the schedule?
Yeah.
Wow. For months?
I mean, we weren't on the schedule. We were just like, if it rains, we're going to shoot this scene. And so I was there from April till, I was there for like 4 or 5 weeks. And then Bob De Niro hurt himself. And it kind of like they had to redo the whole schedule and everything. So they let us go. And I went and visited some of my family because I hadn't seen anybody in a long time at that point. COVID had been going on. And this was spring 2021. So I went and stayed with my brother and my sister-in-law and their kid in Madison, Wisconsin for a few weeks. And then they asked me to come back. And I had a movie that I was acting in that was premiering in Tribeca, and I asked if I could go to New York for a week, and they let me go for that. And that was, so let's see, I was probably gone for 5 weeks, and then another week, and then I went back late June, and I was there till mid-September.
What a strange
and I
life.
started working in.
What a strange, crazy life we live.
Yeah, it was a Schedule F, buyout, but it was like, 5 months of per diem. I didn't, have family.
Or pets.
I
or plants.
I bought a succulent there. But,
I have a cactus.
I was really wanting to get out of LA. I wanted to move, and
there you
so
go.
I just thought, well, I'll do that. And then I got Better Call Saul while I was there.
Okay.
I had auditioned for Better Call Saul 2 or 3 years previous.
What?
It was a 1-page scene. It was a pair of eyes in a rearview mirror. But it was going to be a much bigger thing later. I didn't get it. Somebody else did. he did 2 episodes over 2 seasons, and then he was not available.
And then they
I
called
got all
you 2 years later?
Yeah, I had been the second choice, and they
All the
called me
backup
while I was in
This
Oklahoma.
kind of shit never happens to me. Jesus.
Me neither. But
That's
I have
fucking
the feeling
cool.
that it's like there's something else that happens. I think when it's like,
When you're already
Sharon
hired on
Bialy.
something.
well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Then it's like, they're like, okay, because of COVID, I think George and Tammy and Better Call Saul were because people were not, they couldn't make the schedules work because COVID
Yeah.
was so crazy, and people were getting held longer on things and stuff. And so
Oh, it was madness. It was
I think
they were like-
schedules were so hard.
yeah, I thought that was going to happen again as soon as the strike ended, but silly me. But they tried to get this guy, they couldn't get him. Sharon Bialy said to Vince and Peter, "Hey, you guys liked Pat Healy before. Oh, let's look at his tape again. Yeah, that's good. What's he doing now? Martin Scorsese movie. Get him. That kind of
Nice.
thing." And then you're like, then George and Tammy was an actor that was not available who gets all of the parts that I want. But
Who's your nemesis?
he's not. I mean, I love him. He's great, but he gets all the parts. Shea Wiggum, and Shea was on Mission Impossible, I guess, and just. But it was funny because like during COVID, I was like, when this ends, there's going to be all this work lined up, and I
Yeah.
said to my friend because he remembers, I said to him, "The Shea Wiggum can't do everything." Sure enough, like, and Michael Shannon and I are old friends. Like we've known each other for 30 years, and then Mike recommended me, Abe Sylvia, the showrunner, I've worked with twice before, and it was nice. Like that's that thing when preparation meets opportunity kind of situation. It was like COVID. It was more people because you're around. You can be relied on. I had to come right in and hit the ground running on that. And
Where was that shot?
they knew they could count on me for Wilmington, North Carolina.
Okay. I big fan of Wilmington, North Carolina. We shot there. Shot Halloween there. It was awesome.
Yeah, we shot one day in. I think we shot 2 days, but I shot one day in Nashville at the last day of shoot, and that's when we all got COVID. Thank God it was the last day of shoot, but we shot in the Ryman auditorium, and then afterwards, all took our masks off and went to a wrap party at a bar next door, and
Got
came down with
COVID.
a horrible case of it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
But,
so what's the future
yeah.
like? What do you got coming up? What's going on?
I don't know. Are you guys terrified like I am?
Yes.
I mean,
horrified.
I know really famous actors that are scared right now.
Really?
What is your main fear?
Yeah, and I mean, obviously the business has compressed or consolidated a lot. I mean, there's been a lot of trimming of fat. They're not making as many things. I'm reading for stuff, and then and I know it's like a fractional series regular, and doesn't pay much because I know who the people who are making it are. And then you read that like some really famous person is doing it, and you're like, I think a lot of people just really want to work because it's been so long. I haven't worked since it's been it'll be a year next month. In like 6 weeks it'll be a year since I worked.
Do you think
The strike hit.
Do you think IATSE will strike?
I would hope that clear heads would prevail because we are barely surviving this one. And we're coming just off the heels of COVID having taken the business down. So I hope that they aren't messing around, but maybe there's people who want it like this. I don't know. They want less. And my understanding is people are getting offered a lot less money to do things, even since before the strike, when they do get offered stuff, it's like people telling me that they're getting offered half of what they were getting offered before. So I don't know. I'd like to hear another perspective on it. I don't want to be a complete bummer about it. I just I wonder what you guys think.
I don't know. I also read that Tyler Perry thing, and that freaked me out. Where
I didn't read that. What was that?
That he halted production.
He's been doing
studio.
expansion for a few years, $800 million expansion to his studio, and he got sort of a private viewing of some AI software. And then he's used that sort of same software that Raiders of the Lost Ark used as far as for Harrison Ford. And so he just saw where things are going. And so he stopped the $800 million expansion of his studio because he says we're not going to need 4 more stages.
It's like bigger picture stuff is like
because AI is going to be everything's going to be AI in a few years.
It's just everything. Yeah, it's just everything. It's like you won't need locations and you won't need hair and makeup. You won't need. So it's just like maybe we're letting some of it die because you just won't need all of it. And is that really what's happening? Is this is accelerating at a rate that we're not, or is that overblown?
There's a part of me, and some of my friends that started when I did, and even my fiance feels this way in some ways that we're doing better now, than we were when we started in this business. But the business is it what we got into this for? Is it what we want to be doing? Like what you're describing has nothing to do with anything I'm interested in doing. Standing in front of a green screen and have everybody do. I don't know, but if it's a job and it pays, okay. But like it's so hard because it's like I finally got to a point where I'm at at an advantage of my career. But the things that I got into this business for, the kinds of movies and things that I like that don't exist anymore are going away. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm in a world of fighting to make those type of films, and I think if we can connect with an audience, and I think that's easier than ever in the sense that are the opportunities there to directly connect with audiences because they don't care necessarily where it's being played or seen. So I think there's a fight to be had for telling great stories with humans, and I think there'll be a marketplace for it. I think it's going to be smaller for sure, but there'll be a marketplace for it. And I mean, that's what we have fought for. And I'll give you a call. I'll hire you.
Yay! I definitely want things to be more human.
Yeah.
Not less.
I mean, listen, there's also technology, there's spatial computing that's coming. And so there's going to be new formats of exhibition, right? And so that's going to change things as well. And there's going to be, I think, interesting ways for us to tell story. And I think that's what we should be embracing is that, and Scorsese actually said this, he said, now more than ever, break the rules. It doesn't matter. If it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it does. And so I think that's what we embrace is like, not being stuck to this sort of 90-minute format, this sort of ideology of what a movie has to be or a TV show has to be, and figure out new ways to create, and use our creativity to stand out and get audiences.
I think we need to lean into that.
Yeah. And now how you make money at that is different. But look, we talked to the Sing Sing guys. They're doing profit sharing. I was just on a movie with profit sharing. Like they're getting it. We have to make them for cheaper, but we all want skin in the game. And so I think, the way that the systems now with streaming, which I think is the real sort of issue because we used to have a funnel and we used to have a way for people to come together to see things. Now that we don't have that, I think that's like they have so much control because if an Amazon and Netflix, if they say no, right, where do you go? What do you do? There's not a lot of options as before when we had the windows. And so I think it's up to us to figure out how to take a little bit of this into our own hands and figure out what to do.
I mean, I was just reading today, there's an op-ed by Mark Harris in the New York Times about it. And he was just saying like in one part of it, the Taylor Swift movie completely bypassed the distributors and self-distributed with help from AMC. But then they sold it to Disney for $75 million. So it's like, you got stuff. And then I hear like AFM or the European EFM has been very like, there's been a lot of buying of movies and things going on because there's less television and stuff. So maybe there's something else that has died that's reawakening in the death of, what the streaming thing has been. Do you have a good reason? I mean, there's less stuff because there's less money, but like when COVID, like when things came back from COVID, there was just this boom of production. And that's how, like I said, it could get these other jobs because not everybody was available. Why isn't something closer to like that happening now? Is it just for the reasons that we discussed?
I think because of COVID, they stockpiled, right? They went and they had an arsenal of content. And so that is also a reason I think, and I don't know, man, if this is true, but they were able to wait out for so long, right? Because they're like, hey, we got enough to get us through to this date,
But then why aren't they making a ton of stuff now?
I mean, they're.
I think
they are.
there's also rumors that like they're this IATSE negotiation coming up. That they're like
that's what's scaring people from starting. Yeah, 'cause
it's
if you
scaring
start
people from
something,
starting.
It's gonna shoot in the start.
And then
which is what
also-
happened.
Also, they're kind of like withholding on purpose to make people really desperate so that they don't strike.
That's right.
Maybe and
also,
then
like,
listen, what I'm calling artificial entertainment, AE, is probably a thing, and they're probably working on that as well too. I would imagine.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe after the negotiations,
time.
we'll see a little bit more of a boom. Let's see. Let's hope.
Let's move to
That's like-
Spain and open a theater.
Let's do that. I'm here for that.
The
Or-
strike is supposed
Portugal.
to be in July. Like their contract's over in July. Or
I
something?
think so. I think
We talked to somebody that is on one of the committees and back in January, and he's like, they were already talking, and he was hoping that because they were talking a lot earlier than we were.
Yeah.
Before our strike, that might be of value, but I don't know.
I don't either. Let's just
Until
hope.
there's a contract, I think a lot of people are afraid to start something that's going to get shut down.
Let's just hope.
And on that note,
Yeah. Let's not end it on a complete bummer.
end it on a bummer. Pat Healy.
Yeah. I'm.
well, we got stuff going on. We got stuff going on, and I'll give you a call for sure because
Yes.
we're pretty busy here down in the southeast, and so
Get your butt down here.
Yeah.
Son.
Yeah, I'd
Come
love
on.
to come
Yeah.
there.
Yep. We'll call
No,
Mr.
I am getting married, and we are, trying to start a family here. So it's interesting how I look at things differently. I think if somebody said
Yeah.
go to Oklahoma for 5 months now, it would be a different conversation.
Sure.
But,
Sure.
so
But you're in Chicago, right?
He's
I'm in
Oh,
LA.
you're in
He's
LA?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
yeah,
Okay.
we're actually talking about moving back to Chicago.
Oh,
My
okay.
fiance grew up here, and she doesn't want to stay here or raise kids here and stuff, and neither do I necessarily. And I don't know that there's a big reason to be here now anymore. Anyway,
Yeah.
I was talking to a person on the management side of things the other day, and I was saying, yeah, I'm thinking of moving. He's like, yeah, it doesn't matter as much to be here anymore. But the good thing is, you run into people in coffee shops and stuff.
True.
It's like, first of all, no, I don't. Secondly, I can't think of a single job that I've
That's
ever
what I
Yeah.
said. There wasn't a single job that a party or network or whatever, it always happened in the room. It always happened from people I met on set. It always happened from those type of
Yeah.
relationships. Yeah.
Well,
No,
you might want to winter there.
It's true. I know. She doesn't quite know what it's like when it's 50 below outside, but she'll find out.
Holding a
quickly.
baby and getting ice off of the
Yeah.
windshield.
Yeah. Well, it's like we stay home a lot anyway, so maybe it's like perfect for us.
Pat, you're amazing.
You're amazing.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
joining us.
Thanks.
Awesome.
John.
It's
Thanks,
great.
Dad.
Great
It was my
talking to
pleasure.
you.
Great.
Thanks so
And I'll,
much for hanging out. We'll
I'll look
watch
forward
for
to
you,
seeing
and
guys soon.
best of luck on that Killers of the Flower Moon nomination. All the Oscars we're hoping
yeah.
for.
Thanks.
Awesome.
I think I'll probably be the one accepting the
Yes,
awards.
I would hope
No,
so. Just
kidding.
push Marty out of
I'm-
the way and grab that award.
Feel like a Harvey Weinstein it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot.
Our show today was recorded in studio by the good folks at Record ATX. Check them out at recordatx.com. Our theme music is produced by Jonathan Price. You can check out some of the sounds he makes with his project, The Mid-Cities, on Spotify. Follow, subscribe, and smash that like button if you see one. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.